I'll kick us off this week. I'm going back to the Broncos. 7.5 is too much. Obviously, I picked the money line, so I would sprinkle a little bit there. But for the sake of the context, plus 7.5. Like I said, I think this field is still going to be pretty crappy, even though the weather will be okay. Um, on game day, there's going to be rain on Saturday. A college game is being played there with Kansas. Um, yeah, I just think it's going to be a rocky thing. I think this is an older team, short week. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, I think this is the way you have to play this if you're going to. Uh, I'm staying away from the spread, but I am gonna bet all Broncos games again.
Mm. Get in there. What's your first one here, buddy?
I'm gonna do over 10.5 Bo Nix, longest rushing or longest rush. It's minus 120. We're just going back to the well. Listeners of the podcast know that this is just a winner. He basically runs for a first down at some point every game. So, uh, yeah, not a lot to add there in terms of context. It's just so faithful.
Yep. No, and it's the only thing that's going to stop doing this is if teams, and I don't necessarily think, by the way, it's a bad strategy, but if teams just say, hey, I understand that for most of the NFL, too high safety is the best thing. It's not the best for the Broncos. I'm going to need Bo Nix to complete a long pass. We've seen him miss on some pretty big windows deep. And not like the Broncos have the wide receiving core of your dreams out there. And if they're just like, you know what, like the biggest threat to us is Bo Nix and Javonte Williams just gashing us, and then them being able to play in second and third and short, we're just bringing safeties down. Like we're going to say, beat us over the top. Prove that you can do that, Bo. And, obviously you vary the looks. But until teams do that, it just feels like if you can get like a quick rush up in between the end and the tackle, the linebackers, everyone's like in coverage and back off the line, you just get 10 yards. So, yeah, like you said, I think it's a good one. My next one, I am going to the other team that played on Monday night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to be taking their opponent. The San Francisco 49ers are coming off of a bye. The last year when the 49ers came off of a bye, they absolutely dog-walked Jacksonville. And this Bucs team is incredibly banged up. They just lost two straight heartbreaking games. It feels
Are
like
the
the
wide
kind of stuff.
receivers still out?
Oh yeah. Godwin's done. Evans is on IR, so he still hasn't missed. I think he might be done for the season too. To be honest,
They
but yeah, I
should
mean, I
tank,
just
so
think
that would make sense, I guess. So.
I just think Baker's playing well. Their defense is playing a little over their head, but Christian McCaffrey's going to play. You've got all these weapons. You've got all this stuff. You have one of the top three coaches in the league who's had a week to self-scout as well as look at an opponent. I think the 49ers are going to absolutely kick the hell out of this Bucs team. And so I'm just going, I think rest is important, people. Get a good night's rest. Take time to recharge. And I don't think the Chiefs nor the Bucs have had that time to recharge. So I'm picking against both of them. This is 5.5. It's minus 110. But, yeah, I love the 49ers here.
Yeah, getting that under a touchdown feels great. So that seems right. Let's see. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna stay a little more in that minus 120, minus 110 range, and I'm gonna go under 20.5 for the first half of this Broncos Chiefs game. It's minus 110. I just don't think there are going to be very many points in this game, and I definitely don't think there are going to be very many points in the first half. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Yep, I think this is going to be a mud fight. I also think the Chiefs started very slow against Tampa Bay as
They
well.
typically do. Like
Um, yep,
they're the cardiac kids, right? Like they're going to come back and beat you.
and they're just a methodical team too. Like they'll use the clock. They'll they're um, not putting up crazy things. And if you're a good defense, we're probably not putting up a lot of points either.
No,
So um,
which they are.
I yeah. Um, I also wanted to quickly for the listeners. It was 5.5 when I looked this morning. It's now up to 6.5. That's not going to stop me. I'm still absolutely going to take it. It's under that touchdown, like Ryan mentioned. I think that's a key number. But it does get me minus 105.
Oh,
The Broncos also minus 105 at 7.5. I love that. Um, for my final bet, um, I am conflicted. I want to go through my two options here, Ryan.
okay.
Talk it through with you. I feel like haven't used you as a resource enough.
I'm here
Potentially,
to
I understand
conciliate you.
we're in competition, but the competition is not much of a competition. I feel like you can afford to give some honest feedback here. And
And
if I have a 3-0 week, then maybe you'll be like, hey, you know what? I would like half of the money going forward.
yeah, and
Maybe a little
I
vig
feel like
here or
we
something.
never really made any stakes here. So yeah,
Yeah, that is true as well. All right, so we have the Steelers off a bye plus money, or plus versus the Commanders. We can just take their money line and be plus 126.
no.
The downside is we're taking Russell Wilson. The upside is we have Jaden Daniels still probably banged up. The Steelers defense is fully rested, and Mike Tomlin as an underdog. It
Are
feels
they
pretty
at
good,
home?
right? No, it's at the Commanders.
Okay.
Or we can go with our new coach theory, and we take the Saints plus 3.5, figuring they hated Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is a moron against the Falcons. The problem is you're betting on Derek Carr. So
But against
Russell
Kirk
Wilson
Cousins.
and Derek Carr give me a lot of
But
pause
against Kirk
here.
Cousins.
Yeah, but Kirk's kind of been slinging that thing.
Yeah, that game's probably going to be a shootout. So I don't know. I mean, you are making a compelling case with the plus money again with Pittsburgh, and the reason I was initially skeptical is honestly just because I love Jaden Daniels so much, so I hate
Yeah,
rooting against him, but
yeah.
it's probably the right bet. I just don't necessarily want to cheer against Jaden Daniels, but I'll do it for you. I want you to I want the
All right.
podcast to win money at the end of the day.
Yeah, it feels good to me. All right, we're going Steelers plus 126 here on the road. We're just going to take straight money line. Um, like I said, I just think their defense is really good. I think this Commanders defense is really bad. I understand they got Lattimore this week, but I still think they're pretty bad. And so yeah, I think that coming off a bye is a pretty big advantage. And this team, like, they needed a Hail Mary to beat the Bears, and then they played a weirdly competitive game last week
They're,
against the Giants
we're
as well.
both in the running for the good bad team. The Broncos and the Commanders are both in the
Yeah,
running.
yeah. The Commanders and Broncos are closer than people think. Like, I think the Commanders would beat us if we played, but it would be a closer game than people want to give it credit for, because we recently got the SHIT knocked out of us, and they haven't played the Eagles yet. Basically, is all that is. Where are you going for your last one to
Well,
wrap us up here?
as you alluded to, the competition is it's not necessarily a competition right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm reaching into my bag a little bit on this one to try to make the people some money, uh, and it's going to be a halftime full time bet. And I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to be leading at half and the Kansas City Chiefs to be leading in at full time plus 600.
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good, Ryan.
Yeah.